Here are all 9 hidden larval tiers that can be found in Elden Rings Shadow of the Erdtree DLC, if you know not just where, but when to look for them. That's right, without even knowing it, you could have inadvertently walked straight past the larval tier locations, as they can be found within a ring of blue glowing spectral gravestones, but they only appear during the night. For anyone wondering what on earth I'm talking about, larval tiers are a consumable item that are required for Rebirth, a mechanic in the game that allows you to reallocate your character's stats, giving you the ability to try out various builds and weapons during one playthrough. Rebirth can be done in the Lands Between by Rauh in the Academy of Rauh Lucaria, anytime after you have defeated her boss fight. In the base game there are 18 larval tiers available, but for those respec trigger happy players, these new larval tiers will come in very handy. So let's dive straight in. Number 1. Scorched Ruins. The first larval tier can be found in the Gravesite Plains, just southeast of the Scorched Ruins, located here on the map. At the Gravesite Plains site of Grace, pass the time until nightfall, then head east down the hill and cross the road. Then head up the other side of the road and veer slightly right, and near the tree full of hanging men, you will see the spectral gravestone circle, and in the very centre of it, the first larval tier of the DLC. Number 2. Prospect Town. The second larval tier can be found west of the Gravesite Plain, east of the Prospect Town, located here on the map. At the main gate site of Grace, found just before Bellarat, pass the time until nightfall, then head southeast and follow the cliffside path south. On this path you will encounter various hounds and giant bats, so be careful and take out any that pose a risk. Once you reach the end of the path, go through the passageway and activate the Cliff Road Terminus site of Grace. Then head south-southeast and head up the hill on the east of the Prospect Town, and you will find the larval tier in the centre of the spectral gravestone circle. Number 3. Abandoned Ailing Village. The third larval tier can be found in the north of Gravesite Plain, just to the east of the Great Bridge North site of Grace, located here on the map. To get here, from the 3-path cross site of Grace, follow the path north, past the Elec Great Bridge, and then rest at the Great Bridge North site of Grace, passing the time until nightfall. Then, to the east on your right hand side, drop down and head towards the cliffside, and you will see the glowing spectral gravestone circle and the larval tier in the very centre. Before we move on to the next one, if you are enjoying the video, don't forget to like and subscribe and ring that bell to make sure you don't miss out on even more Elden Ring content. Number 4. Suppressing Pillar. The fourth larval tier can be found in the east of Gravesite Plain, just to the northeast of the Suppressing Pillar, located here on the map. To get here, from the castle front site of Grace, located on the far side of the Elec Great Bridge, follow the main path southeast, past the camp, and then go through the wooded area, and eventually you will reach the Pillar Path waypoint site of Grace. Rest at this site of Grace and pass the time until nightfall. Next, follow the path south, going up the stairs past the altar, and then continue to work your way up the hill towards the Suppressing Pillar. Once you have gone past the third bird statue on your left after the altar, turn left and head east, and you will find the glowing spectral gravestone circle containing the larval tier. Number 5. Church of the Crusade. The next larval tier can be found in the west of Shadow Altus, located just south of the Church of the Crusade, located here on the map. To get here, from the High Road cross site of Grace, pass the time until nightfall, and then follow the path north until you reach the junction with the Shadow Altus map fragment Stilly. Then from here, head west going up the hill towards the Church of the Crusade. As you go up the hill, veer left and you will see the glowing spectral gravestone circle containing the larval tier. Number 6. Messmer's Army Encampment. The next larval tier can be found to the centre of Shadow Altus, located northeast of the Shadow Altus map fragment Stilly, located here on the map. To reach this larval tier, from the High Road cross site of Grace, pass the time until nightfall, and then follow the path north until you reach the junction with the Shadow Altus map fragment Stilly. From here, head northeast, going up the hill on the right hand side of the army camp. Then, before you reach the wood, head north towards the hill and you will see the glowing spectral gravestone circle containing the larval tier. Number 7. Rabbaths Rise. The next larval tier can be found in the east of Shadow Altus, located west of Rabbaths Rise and north of the Cathedral of Manus Metir, located here on the map. To reach the larval tier, if you haven't previously discovered this area, then we will need to go on a small adventure. If you have already discovered this area, just head west from the Church District site of Grace, and you will find the glowing spectral gravestone circle containing the larval tier. So, to access the Church District area, first, from the Morth Ruin site of Grace, located here on the map, head east towards the ruins, and look for the collapsed building with a slanted tower around the middle of the ruins. Then, on the left side of this building, you will see a small opening leading down into the subterranean section of the ruins. Carefully drop down utilising torrent, and then once at the bottom, immediately follow the cave heading southwest, and then at the end of the cave, drop down to the next section. Next, face west and drop down again to the next section. Once at the bottom, go east until you reach a tunnel, and follow it to the very end, and you will find a ladder. Head up the ladder and you will arrive in the Bonnie village via its well. After you're done exploring this new area, head north-northeast and drop down into the ravine. Then turn right and go to the very end. You will then find a slope on your left leading back up to the east side of Bonnie village. Head up it and then keep heading northeast across the first bridge. Go past the whipping hut and then cross the second bridge to the east. If you then follow the path up the hill all the way to the north, you will go through a small tunnel and into a new area containing a furnace golem. Run straight past it and continue following the path north up the hill and you will eventually reach the Church District Site of Grace near Rabbaths Rise. Rest at the Site of Grace and pass the time until nightfall. Then head west and just after you leave the main path you will see the familiar glowing spectral gravestone circle containing the Larval Tear. Number 8. Rauh Base Ravine. The next Larval Tear can be found in the southwest of the ravine between Shadow Altus and Rauh Ruins area, located here on the map. To access this Larval Tear, rest at the Ancient Ruins base Site of Grace and pass the time until nightfall. But if you don't already have access to the Ancient Ruins Site of Grace, then from the Morph Ruins Site of Grace, located here on the map, head north-northeast to the small pond north of the ruins. Behind the pond you will see a statue of Marika. Go past it and head north all the way through the cave. Once out of the cave, work your way down the levels of Poison Ponds, heading northwest until you find a large opening in the cliffside. Go all the way through the opening until you reach the other side and the Ancient Ruins base Site of Grace will be right there. So, from the Site of Grace, follow the ravine southwest and you will encounter two giants, one with a bow and arrow and another with a large axe. If you choose to take on the giants, then charged attacks on their ankles work a treat. Or if you're feeling lucky, then just run straight past them. It is worth noting though that the archer giant has very good aim, even from a distance. Then, after the second giant, on your left hand side, just past the entrance to the Fog Rift Catacombs, you will see the glowing spectral gravestone circle containing the Larval Tear. Number 9. Ravine North. The final Larval Tear of the DLC can be found in the northwest section of the Rauh base, in Ravine North, located here on the map. To access this Larval Tear, from the Ancient Ruins base Site of Grace, follow the ravine southwest until you reach the Temple Town Ruins Site of Grace. From this Site of Grace, stick to the left hand side and follow the path parallel to the river, being careful of all the lesser kindred of rot enemies along the way. Then, once you have reached the Ravine North Site of Grace, rest and pass the time until nightfall. From this Site of Grace, drop down into the lake and follow the waterway west. Then about halfway down the water on your right hand side, you will see the familiar glowing spectral gravestone circle containing the final Larval Tear. And for now, that's it! You now have all 9 hidden Larval Tears from the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC, ready and raring to respec your character as you see fit. Let me know in the comment section below what builds or weapons you have found yourself respecing to, in order to better take on the Shadow of the Erdtree challenges. Thanks for watching, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe for even more Elden Ring content.